Earlier, Lene and Debbie did a webisode on our 10 new Dazzles. Well, we've also done something else with them. We have turned them into never-before-seen Dazzles. And wait till I show you what Teresa has done. Come play with us. Let me just run through these with you quickly. So while we do have the tulip Dazzles in one color available separately, we put them in this collection in this holographic red as well as this pink. So that's the never before seen. So you're going to see each of those 10 Dazzles, but you're going to see them in different colors, different finishes, and I'll walk you through. So this is just half of them. So we've got leaves, we've got hydrangeas, we've got flowers, we've got windflowers, tulips as you saw. Butterflies, we did 3 of them in gold, pink, blue. We kept the bees and the ladybugs in black because that just seemed reasonable and we didn't want to lose them. So that's the one that isn't never before seen. I hope you'll forgive us. The teacups are in a blue with a silver foil and also a holographic red. We've got the birdhouses in a brown and a mirror blue. And then we have the Foggy Forest in a standard brown, but then also a mirror brown. So that's what we're going to be working with. And as you noticed, I didn't even tell you that, but I did remove the backing just so that it'd be a little bit easier for you to see them. So that's what's going on there. So let's go into our first card and we'll get in closer to share that with you. And as you can see, getting closer, Steve? Then you can see that Teresa used the 2 tulips, the holographic red and the pinky purple. And this is the card that she has done. And isn't that gorgeous? So what she's done is to mix the sets. And that's exactly what I had in mind as we were developing these. So let me show you what she's done. Well, she started with a piece of vellum. And as you may know, we do sell the white vellum in packages of 10 sheets, and they are 6 by 12. So she first took a piece of the vellum. By the way, the directions, when you go down below the webisode and click on this card, it will take you to a page that will give you the directions. They're on the right-hand side, give you all the measurements, so I don't have to do that with you. And it will also show you down below all the products that Teresa used. So that's the deal. So she started with that piece of vellum, and then she layered the flowers. So in this particular set, as I said, she used the 2 tulips, the pink and the red. She also used the mirror foliage, so that was it. And then she also came back and used that ladybugs and the bees. So those are the 4 that she used. And if you can see that she built from the bottom up, so this big tulip would be placed and then a stem, and then this one and a stem, and this one and a stem. And then she went back in the red and added these little flourishes, these little pieces of foliage. Then for this one, she actually placed it onto the vellum. In fact, I'll do that for you because she's going to do this several times. So she took this one, and let me just pull it off. Actually, it might help if I got my glasses on. Okay, and lift it. Come on, guy. There we go. And just place it on the corner of the vellum, like so. And then she took the scissors. Now, we recommend a short-bladed scissors. We've been out of these for quite a while, but I do understand they're coming back in. So I just like to kind of whack this out so that I don't have all that big piece of vellum that I have to work with. And then you just go right around along the edge of the Dazzle itself. And the idea is that you turn the paper, or in this case the vellum, and keep the scissors straight. So what happens is that the edge of the Dazzle that is foiled kind of makes these scissors go. I mean, you just kind of rest it along that edge. So that's all you do, is you just go right along that edge. So we call that backing a dazzle. And then she foam taped it in place right there. And you can hide the foam tape underneath that centerpiece because it's such a larger piece. So that worked nicely. Now she also went back, I mentioned the ladybugs, and I just love what she did because we have ladybugs. In fact, Steve, I'm going to ask you to get in even closer. I should have done that when we were putting the vellum on the dazzle. But you can see that that ladybug is walking on the branch, and I think that's just darling. Another one is down here, and so all she did was she placed her ladybug on the extra material on the tulip. Might as well use it, and then cut right along the edge. So you can see that that's right there. You just have to glue it in place, the little one right there. And then she put this onto a piece of, it's called the Sweet Life paper, and this is the paper pack, and it is a 12 by 12 paper pack. And what Teresa used, let me get it in here for you, she used this pink. It has some really fun flowers on it, but it also has some small patterns. So she used this on the front of her card. And while I've got this out, let me show you. She used this on the inside of her card. There's also kind of this linen. There's small prints, as you can see, all through this. But that's what she used. And then she wrapped ribbon. This is out of the white ribbon set, as you can imagine. And then glued that to the front of her card. Now, the front of her card, actually, step one back, she did cut 1 inch off the opening edge. That way, you've got the play of the two papers, and you've also got more dazzles that you can have on the inside. So that's what she did. I do love how she added the foliage from the red sheet to play with the tulips right there. So really, really nice. She did add another little ladybug on the bow that went on top of that ribbon. There's another little one right here. So just really playful, really nice. Now on the inside of her card, I showed you that paper. She also added the pink border dazzles, and it looks like this. You can get those separately. And then you can see that these tulips on the red were backed on white. And the butterfly, which is our blue set, which I didn't even identify that for you, did I? But you saw it in the first part. That one is backed on vellum. And so you can see more of them are coming. There's another little ladybug following that branch. So very fun. The words are from the More Greetings Dazzles. So this has, hi, happy birthday, just because, get well soon, with deepest sympathy, thank you. All kinds of generic greetings. Now the one other thing that she had, or two things, let me say, the butterflies are an open dazzle, an outline dazzle, but then there are also some solid ones on there too. So that just gives you a way to play with them. And then on the front, right in these little flowers, she has these sparklets. This is the sepia shimmer, and you can see that they're a dark tone to a very light tone. And that's what she used right there. Just put a dab of glue. The high comes from those same More Greetings dazzles, and just a really sweet, sweet card, and a good technique to remember. Now, there is another, well, there's more. And what I love is that what Teresa did is she really did marry the varieties of the never before seen dazzles so well. So you can see that in this one, she's using, we call these wind flowers, and yes, there will be papers later in the year. So this is a mirror purple and then a holographic pink. And isn't that fun how she played with them? And let me show you what she did. She also used, now in the first card, we used the light green foliage. Well, now we're using the dark green foliage. So that's going to play well. And then she also brought in the gold butterflies. So those are the papers that she, or those are the dazzles she used. Now, let me show you what she did. So in this particular one, she is using Lilacs in Bloom 12 by 12 papers. And you can see that this is going to have, of course, light purple and dark purple. It's going to go beautifully with the windflowers. And she also, so that sheet is going to be on the front of her 5 by 6.5 inch card. Teresa always, or often, leaves the card being a white border. So again, the directions and the measurements are down below, so that's great. Now in this case, she also has these pieces going off to the side. Now she used the cutting die. It is called Rectangle Torn Edges, and this is a slimline die. However, you can use it wherever you want, and it is a nested die, so you do get that torn edge look. And what she played with was, because she was using the Lilacs and Bloom papers, she used the Lilacs and Bloom cardstock to match everything perfectly. And you can see that she used pretty much a very light lavender and a medium and then a darker lavender as she played with these. So she did the die cutting and then layered the pieces together and put them onto her card front, as you can see, alternating the sides. So that was good. Now, to go back to the Dazzles, she did take them and put them on, again, the lavenders that are in this Lilacs and Bloom. So you can see that they are on a very light lavender and a little bit darker lavender. Now, because she was cutting them along the edge, she could foam tape them. You can do that or you cannot do that, your choice. But I love how she's got the foliage behind them. It just gives such a nice kind of a home nest for them to be placed. And she also used this, these also have these branches, and you can see how how they've really been used nicely there. So they're all kind of layering. Now, I don't know if you know this about Teresa, but when she began at Hot Off the Press 400 years ago, she did applique, but then later on she did floral arranging, and she did a ton of idea books with us. And I can really see that talent expressing itself in her work on the cards. Now, the Love You also comes from the sheets. So Love You and Smile are greetings that are there. You can see that the butterflies, she's just got one at each of the little arrangements that she has. And she also added some of this separate flowers. So you can see that there are little flowers. So we really tried to make these as complete as possible, to have lots of things on them to work well together. Now, in the center of these flowers, she did add the jewel silver dazzles. These are the circle dazzles, and that just added a bit more. It kind of finishes them. Okay, on the inside, this is more of the Lilacs in Bloom paper, as well as the solid cardstock. She double matted it on the side. This is a cutout from the paper pack, and it's simply just been placed there, and you can see more of the flowers, more of the butterflies, more of the silver jewel dazzles. Really pretty. Now, I should mention that these dazzles, for the most part, are very different than our usual dazzles. Our usual dazzles are outline dazzles. These have a more solid filling, and I'm curious to hear, do you like that? It's worked really well for these. Not sure we'll always do it, but it's a beginning for us. Okay, so again, you're going to need the short bladed scissors to complete this. Now let's go into the Foggy Forest Dazzles, and as I said, they're both brown, but one is more of a standard brown, and then the other one is a mirror brown, so it has a shine to it. And what Teresa has paired these with is with a older paper pack of ours, which is the Wood and Texture. Now she used this, and you can see it on the front of the card very nicely. Now on this card, I think you can see just the variety of papers in that wood and texture. So you can see the wood back here. Again, this is our 5 by 6.5 inch card. Then she took this rusted one and matted it on the orange. Oh, by the way, the solid cardstock comes from an unexpected source. This is the Seascapes and Sand cardstock. We weren't doing cardstock when we did the wooden textures, but Teresa has found a collection that works really well, and you can see that that orange does a really nice job of playing with the rust pattern in that paper. Now she also took the diamond plate and matted it on the tan and put it right here. Now you can see the Dazzles, of course. So we've got the deer, we've got 2 sets of birds, and then this piece is done out of an old favorite, the 8 labels for your greetings. So you can see that that piece is right there. And using the die, of course, is going to get you those ends perfectly done every single time. And you can see the squirrel right there. The Just For You, that comes out of our set of our tiny words and phrases. So that works right there. And then the jute is what is wrapped here. And the jute comes by, our ribbons have 36 inches, but the jute has 72 inches of every single color. So that's a nice bonus. Now, for the inside of our card, well, I should tell you at this point too, that you see how the deer's eye and the ear and the nose, she did go back in and color them with just a black felt tip pen. So she just used that right there just to finish that off. Then on the inside, are you ready? Look at that. Isn't that fun? Now she did take this whitewash brick and she cut 2 pieces. Instead of having one, she likes to do that with 2 pieces so that they don't buckle in the middle, because she's going to have this big piece. And where did that big piece come from? Well, it came from our fabulous folded cards. This is the double pop-up card, and it's going to give you a piece that looks like this. Now, on the directions and the package, it tells you how to fold these, but they're going to be mountain and valley folded, just like so. You just start pinching it to make it do what you want, and then it just follows through all the way through the card. So you can see it right here, and just as you work that through. Now, Teresa recommends using extra sticky tape to attach this, because it is going to get tugged as people open and close the cards because they're so much fun. So that's a recommendation. The other thing that she recommends is either a bone, well, she recommends a bone folder. You can also use the handle of scissors, just anything that's going to give you a solid surface to really push down on those score lines so that they're very crisp. Okay, so that's going to work nicely. Now, as you can see, she has placed the Dazzles so that they're really interacting in all of these parts, and this is a great technique. Now, these banners, that is part of the labels to hold your greetings, so you can see small ones and large ones there, as well as labels and so forth. And as you can see, these were cut out of the wood and just placed right on either side of these, right on the middle and then on opposite sides there. And look how those Dazzles are. So the bunny's resting up here, the trees, we've got birds flying, we've got the squirrel, we've got a wolf down here, and you can see the trees. Now you could back those trees, those are more the outline Dazzles, or you can do what Teresa did and just let them be here. But isn't that nice? Now all of these words, they came from that set of tiny words and phrases. That's what that looks like. There's just a ton of them on every single sheet. So that works nicely. And nice to see a masculine card, don't you think? Okay, I have 2 more for you. The woman was busy, and I do appreciate Teresa doing these for us to really let us see what this collection can do. Now, this is using, as you can see, the 2 birdhouses, the blue mirror, there you go, and the brown, the standard brown. So how she has played with them. Now, in this case, these are pretty solid Dazzles. However, she has put them on a different kind of card. This card is going to stand up just like that. Isn't that fun? Now, this is constructed, so let me walk you through it. So we're going to start with a 10-inch by 6.5-inch piece of cardstock. She used white cardstock. You can use, of course, anything you want. Starting from the left, we're going to measure in 1.5 inches, then 3 inches, then 6.5 inches, and we're going to score each of those lines, okay? Then I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to start with a mountain fold, a valley fold, and a mountain fold. And that creates the base to this card, but we're not done. We're going to make another piece that is measuring 6.25 by 3.5. We're going to score at 4.5 inches from the left side. And then on the back side of this, we're going to add our extra sticky tape. Now, I talked about that a minute ago, and one goes here, and then here and here. And I'll show you why that's going to happen. Now, let's go back to our card base. Now, in Teresa's, you can see that on the front, we've got this front piece, we've got this piece that I just talked about, this piece, we've got some paper in here, and then on the inside. So what she recommends is that you put the papers onto this piece before you attach that front piece, okay? And that is so that you're not, it's not struggling. The other thing that she used is Butterfly Meadow paper pack. This is the 12 by 12. I do need to tell you that we have very, very, very limited quantity of this paper pack, so just so that you know. And she has cut a piece to go here, another piece to go here, and another piece that's going actually right here too. Teresa likes to cover the things because she feels it's a more finished look, and the woman is a pro. Then on the inside, which would be right here, is where she put another of them right there. So really, really fun. Now, after you get your papers in, then you can start doing your dazzles. So this piece is going to get attached like so. It's going to get placed down here, and that's where, I think I'll do it this way just so you can see. So that's how it's going to get attached. This has got a fold, and that's going to get folded right there. Okay? So when I turn it over, obviously you're not going to see the measurements, but that's what it's going to look like. So very easy to do. Okay, let's go back to our card. And Teresa did use some solid papers, and this is out of the Flowing Ink collection. So you can see the blues, the greens, all of these, and that's what she used to back the dazzles. Again, that same process that I showed you earlier. Place them on the cardstock or vellum or whatever, and then use the scissors just to cut next to the dazzle's edge. And Teresa also added the blue ribbon, and this comes from the teal and aqua set, and that really goes nicely with that bluebird. Now she also used the large foliage and stems and leaves, the stems and leaves cutting die, so you can see that she really lets them kind of nestle around the dazzles. The dazzles are either glued or foam taped. These are foam taped. The Hello Friend is a cutout from the Butterfly Meadow, and you can see there's a bird there and there. I want to make sure you see all of it. And then on the inside, that little piece is out of the papers and matted. Then she did take, do you see the edges of this? How fun is that? That is the edge of the dazzle. You can just trim 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch. I'd use a paper trimmer if I were you. To add that edge. That's a reason why we never remove the backing, because you can always do something extra with it. Thinking of You comes from our everyday greetings dazzles. So this has very bold statements, as you can see, and that goes right there. A little bird is foam taped on top. Nice. So not only are we seeing new ways of using dazzles, or different ways of using these, we're getting some card techniques going on, aren't we? Okay, I have one more card, and let me bring this in. This is called a floating window. So let me show it to you. So this is how it arrives. It's flat, but you can also pop that out and it will stand up. How fun. Okay, let me show it to you flat. Now let me show it to you popped up. And then on the back, she has things not overlapping, but going in opposite directions. So you can do your greeting, your handwriting on the back. Okay, this will stand up, as you can tell. And let me show you how this is done. Now this comes with, you'll need to download this. So here is the download. It is 5.5 inches by 9 inches. This is done with our circle cutting dies, but it's a placement thing for you on this. And then these are all done in mountain fold. So as you know, with any of the downloads, the outside straight lines are cut lines. The broken lines are score lines, okay? So when you have this, it's going to look like this. And you want to put extra sticky tape along that last score line over there. Let me hold that. That download, again, when you click on this project, the download will be over on the right-hand side, just above the directions. It will say download, and all you do is just click it and you can print it off, okay? Now what Teresa told me is that when you have this flat, she wants you to take the patterned paper, and this is out of Hydrangea Heaven. This is the 6x6, and she gives you the measurements. So you take that one piece and then cut it in half and glue it to your card. Now your card you're going to make out of the Hydrangea Heaven cardstock. Okay, so that will make it super simple. She suggests you put the pattern paper on top, the pattern cardstock on top, before you cut the circle. And the circle, as I bet you can imagine, is done with our 12 circles and scallop cutting dies. So, and because this is 5.5 inches wide, it's going to go through your regular Big Shot or Gemini Junior. So that's going to work nicely. Now, so far as our Dazzles, because I want to keep you on track with that, these are the ones we're using. It is the hydrangeas in blue and in purple. And the blue is a holographic and the purple is a mirror purple. So that's fun. And you can see that in the card, Teresa took the card, so she made her circle and then she also cut a scallop out of the coordinating cardstock and glued it on top. This is one of the cutouts, and this is another of the cutouts. They're foam taped in place. Notice you just want to make sure that you know which side they're going to be on so that you don't foam tape the whole thing down, okay? Now these are placed onto the cardstock, and again, just trimmed around the edge to place them in there. And then she did use the foliage, that dark green foliage, to that was also backed onto the cardstock. Now there's some fun things on the inside, and just like our last card, this card needs to have the papers attached before you connect the card together, okay? That way you're not going to be struggling with it. So she has the hydrangea paper, and I'm hoping you can see that. Let's see, what can I do to make this easier? Let me take, actually it's this sheet that she has on the inside so that you can see that, you can see more hydrangeas. Let's see, I'm struggling with the camera to be able to poke down in there. I don't think it's going to. I can see it in person, and she's got this paper turned this way so that that border goes right behind these hydrangeas right here. So it just completes the image. So you want to glue that down before you put your card together, okay? She does have some of the Dazzles inside, the individual blooms. They're just kind of sprinkled on the inside just to add the color going from outside to inside. Now, then after all of that is done, then you can release the liner and slip this behind your card front. just like that. And this will fit into our regular envelopes too, so that just works very nicely. Now, Teresa used a lot of the Dazzles, but she didn't use them all. So the ones that she didn't use are these. So this in gold, also in red. This is a deep red. Also the teacups, and more of the butterflies. Well, I guess she did use that one. So there are 5 out of the 20 that she didn't use, but I know you've got plans to make things with these, and that will be very, very fun. So all of these never before seen Dazzles, all 20 of the sheets are in the Money Saver. And we've added the vellum to complete this, and also the cards and envelopes. So the Money Saver, it's on the right side of your screen. As I said, you can see all of the instructions for every single one of her 5 cards down below. And if you are watching this on YouTube, please, hope you liked it. Let me know if you liked it. Hit subscribe, and please join us over at paperwishes.com so you can take advantage of that Money Saver. Might as well do that. I want to thank you for joining us, and I want to thank you, as always, for being part of the Paper Wishes family. Bye-bye.